Hello you guys, Walsham sent me these nightstands to try out and I wanted to show you guys what they look like in person, and you get two in a set. I really like the color of these. The special walnut has a warm, natural looking wood tone, and I think it works nicely with a lot of different bedroom colors. The design is also pretty simple, which I like. There's nothing too complicated about them. They have a clean shape so they can fit into different styles without standing out too much. You get two nightstands in the set. That gives the room a more balanced look, especially if you like having matching furniture on both sides. You could also use them separately. One of the things I like about the design is that you get both a drawer and an open shelf. The drawer is nice for smaller things that you don't necessarily want sitting on top of the nightstand. For me, this would be a good place for things like chargers, a remote, glasses, or just those little things that you normally keep next to your bed. And then you have the open shelf underneath. I like having an open shelf because it's easy to see what's there and grab something without opening anything. You could put a few books there, a small basket, or even some decoration. I think it gives you a little bit of flexibility with how you organize everything. On top, you have a nice amount of space for the things you normally keep beside your bed. And in this video, I'm also going to show you the setup step by step so you can see what comes in the box and how everything goes together. Actually, my 10-year-old helped with one of these and he was able to put one together all by himself. I'm just going to show you the process from beginning to end, starting with laying out all the pieces and then putting everything together step by step. I think it's helpful to actually see the setup because when you're shopping for furniture online, you usually only see the finished product. You don't really get to see what it looks like when you first open the box and start putting everything together. So I'll walk you through the process and let you see how the pieces come together. My son actually put one of the nightstands together on his own, which I thought was pretty nice. He followed the instructions and worked through the different steps himself. So I figured I'll include the whole process so you can get a better idea of what you're getting and how it comes together. I'll show you where each piece goes, attach everything step by step, and then at the end, you'll see the finished nightstand. Once everything is put together, you can really see how the drawer and the open shelf fit into the overall design. Personally, I like keeping my nightstand pretty simple, so having the drawer and the shelf gives me places to put things without needing to have everything on top. The walnut color is probably one of my favorite things about the overall look. It's a warm brown and I think it adds a little warmth to the room without being too dark. It also works nicely with neutral colors. So if you have white, cream, beige, gray, or similar colors in your bedroom, I think this finish can blend in pretty easily. At the same time, the design is simple enough that you don't have to have a completely farmhouse style room to use them. Another thing I like is that they're not overly complicated visually. Sometimes with furniture, you can have too many details on it. With these, you have the wood look, the drawer, and the shelf. And that's basically it. One thing I also wanted to show you a little closer is the material and the finish. These have that wood grain look. And I really like the special walnut color. It has a brown warm tone that gives the nightstand a more natural look. When you look at the surface up close, you can see the wood grain pattern throughout the piece. I think that adds a little more detail to the overall design instead of having everything look completely plain. The finish is also pretty easy to work into a room because the walnut color is warm but still fairly neutral. Each nightstand is about 19.7 inches wide, 15 inches depth, and 24.8 inches height. I think those measurements give you a good idea of the overall size. One little thing I want to mention while putting these together is to be a little careful when tightening the screws. You don't need to use a drill for this. I would recommend using a regular screwdriver and tightening the screws by hand, which they explain on their manual. The reason I prefer doing it this way is that you can feel how tight the screw is getting. If you're using a drill, it's easier to keep going and accidentally over tighten it. So for this, I'm using a screwdriver and taking my time with each screw. It's a small thing, but I think it's helpful to know before you start assembling furniture like this. Overall, I'm happy with how these turned out. I hope this video gave you a good idea of what they look like, how they go together, and how they fit. I recommend this product. You guys should definitely check it out.